Well, the New Year's Eve show at the Funny Bone, Nick Hoff took the stage that night, and he's back at the club headlining this weekend.
But it's not like he's new to Nebraska. He grew up here, well, not Omaha, but in the state, living in LA now.
And Nick Hoff, it's the first time on our show. Thanks for stopping by.
It's really
We've been
nice
trying to
to
get
meet
you for a
you.
long time. Yeah.
Glad to have you.
You're a Nebraska guy,
Thank
Hastings,
you.
right?
Right, Hastings. Birthplace of Kool-Aid, Tom Osborne, and me.
Yes.
That's what we've got.
The three famous things. So how'd you get started in comedy? You start to go to Hastings, and then you...
I did not start in Hastings. There's not a hot comedy
There's no club there.
in Hastings, Nebraska. Before we get started, I wanted to bring Mike. I
He has
saw that you may need that. You were
It's a
riding
bag.
around in an airplane.
Yeah.
What the
I
heck?
almost need this.
Thunderbird's flight last night.
Yeah.
I was holding on
we
tightly
were
to
watching
one of
you.
these last night.
Yeah.
Thank you for this.
But you didn't have to.
No,
you didn't have
no,
to use it.
no,
Dude,
it's
that
wet.
would have been me the first second. Just
is
take
like
off. Land it. Land it. It's over. I can't take this.
Where'd you get this thing?
Huh?
It's wet.
It's wet.
like,
Yeah. It was
where
used.
this?
I fished it out of a toilet. Somebody had thrown it, but don't worry about that because the toilet had been flushed.
Good,
clean.
good.
That's
Clean
fine.
toilet
Clean
water.
water.
Clean
You
toilet
don't have to
water.
worry.
How did you get in comedy?
I always knew I wanted to. I started writing in junior high and tried to a handful of times when I was in college, but I was rejected at each turn. I tried to open for George Carlin when he came to our school.
my.
Yeah, because I was a guest
swung for the
usher.
fences
I
right out the
swung,
gate.
and the gatekeeper said, "What are you, crazy? I'm not going to let you eat it in front of George Carlin and 2,500 people." And looking back, thank God, that wasn't my first experience. But in my mind, I was like, George is going to look at me and go, "This kid from Nebraska, he's got something."
Right.
Come on, kid, drop those books. You're coming with me. That was in my head, but
You could have had that
Awesome.
MTV special years ago.
Right?
Had you done
I
that.
wasted
like
all
the
those
confidence,
years.
Though. But that says to me that you knew exactly what you wanted to do with your life. You were bold early on.
I was pulled. That's another way of saying I was stupid. And
Where do you consider your first break? I mean, where do you think your career started to take off at?
well, when I started making money in entertainment was commercials.
Yeah.
So you just have a general face like this. All you need is just a general look at. See, there's the face. See, I could sell you something,
You look
right?
like the guy next door.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
do. You look trustworthy.
Come next door. I won't touch your daughter. And I should have said that. I won't. I said won't.
Oh, you did.
I touched somebody's daughter. And we have 2 kids.
You're married, right?
I'm married. I'm married.
Let's just
It's all
keep
innocent.
it clear.
Sorry, it's morning.
But I mentioned before, maybe early in the show, about Larry the Cable Guy. Him and Jeff Foxworthy handpicked you. Maybe George Carlin didn't get a look at you early
George
on.
sent them a tweet from the grave and said, "Check out this guy Hoff."
What did Larry and Jeff like about you that they wanted to take you on the road with them?
I think they saw a family guy, that wasn't necessarily like the Southern theme, but just a guy that's out there and talking about the things we all go through day to day. So yeah, it was a good time. We were on the road for 8 months, and I learned a lot from those guys. That was fantastic.
I always like asking the Nebraska kids, well, you're not a kid, but you grew up in Nebraska, and then you end up in LA. How do you like living in LA?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of comedy out there, and the weather's nice, but there's too many people. The wife and I always joke when we're on the road, we hope the big earthquake comes when we're gone. And nobody gets hurt, but a lot of people are scared, and 4 million people leave, and then it would be livable. And those 4 million people come to Omaha and come to my shows at the Funny Bone.
We like our city just the way it is.
No,
That's why I always
no,
tell,
that's
I don't
for
want to
4
spread the
million.
word about how awesome Omaha is, because I'm like, it's great, like it is. You've got a new show coming to MTV.
That's right.
What is this about? It's called Acting Out, and
Yes.
it includes a couple of comics.
Yeah,
right?
it's a stand-up comedy show. So it's comedians telling their jokes that are kind of story-based, and then they'll start the story, and then all of a sudden it'll cut to that scene. So if they're on an airplane or if they're in Mexico or something, all of a sudden now cut 10 seconds into the joke, and it's still the comic telling his joke, but now comics are acting it out. So it's pretty cool. I think it'll be really funny. A lot of funny guys doing it.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. I heard you also headlined a 40 tour stop to raise money for breast cancer, right?
We did. In 2010, me and 3 of my comic buddies, we toured the country raising money for Susan G. Komen. And we did a show at the Funny Bone, and that
That's
went really
awesome.
well. Omaha came out and supported, so that was a lot of fun.
Do you have a connection to it, or what was driving you on
We
it?
did. We had done a tour the year before called the Walk of Shame comedy tour that wasn't such a prestigious endeavor. And then one of the comics, his mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we said, well, what if we do this again, but then we kind of do it for something bigger than just laughs. But
I
it was a
think
good
that's
experience.
awesome.
That is awesome.
So what your live shows are like what, Nick? For our viewers who I haven't seen you.
Well,
I'm
you gotta
intrigued.
come.
I like you here. So what do I see at the Funny Bone tonight? What do I get?
Come out. I'm going to talk about my family. I'm going to talk about Nebraska, and it's going to be a good time.
Well, since you're in Nebraska, are you going to have a lot of family there? And as a comic, is that easier?
That's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse, yes. There are a lot of friends and family that come out to these shows, and it's awful because...
They're not going to give you token laughs, are they?
No, they will not. They already know I'm a moron. So there's none of that humor there. They just sit there and they go, yep, there he is. That's the guy that we all know and sort of love. And,
Except right now.
Except-
Telling stories about them.
currently right now, yeah.
Let's go over like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
You can call to get tickets or log on to funnyboneomaha.com.
Yeah, it's great having you on the show. We've followed you for a number of years and glad to finally get you on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys should come out.
We'll come out and see you.
Come out.
I will see you.
Absolutely.
I don't know if this made me believe that she was telling the truth.
No, I do. My
this
husband.
is TV for
my
truth.
husband was
I'll
wanting.
see you.
No, my husband was looking you up. He said, "What is this guy's story?" I said, "I'll find out this morning," and now I know. So
We got the story. Everybody's got the story.
Everybody
we want
has
to
the
see you
story.
live.
Have a good
Thank you,
weekend,
Nick
Nick.
Hoff.
Thanks,
Thanks a
guys.
lot.
Great
We
to
talked
meet you.
earlier